The Saw franchise may be famous for its intricate death traps, but it is infamous for its convoluted chronology. With the next entry in the series right around the corner, we decided that it was time to play a game, and piece together Saw's complicated story in 5 minutes, sort of. Spoilers and copious amounts of gore ahead. Civil engineer John Kramer has a pretty good life. He and his business partner, Art Blank, have just found a home for their charitable foundation in the Gideon meatpacking plant. His pregnant wife, Jill Tuck, has just opened a clinic for recovering addicts. Everything's going well for John, until a drug addict named Cecil tries to rob Jill's clinic, injuring her in the process and causing her to lose the baby. Overcome with grief, John grows distant from Jill and Art. Soon after, he is told by Dr. Lawrence Gordon that he has an inoperable brain tumor. John reaches out to insurance executive William Easton and requests coverage for experimental treatment, but Easton denies him. Thinking his last option is gone, John attempts suicide by driving his car off a cliff. But miraculously, John survives, and with his survival comes a newfound appreciation for his life. So of course, the next logical step is to share this appreciation with others by placing them in elaborate, deadly traps. His first victim is Cecil, whose trap sets the tone for all of John's victims to come. It offers him a chance to survive, but only by forcing him right to the edge of death. Cecil attacks John, who was smart enough to be standing in front of an open cage full of barbed wire. Cecil falls into the cage and dies. John carves a jigsaw piece out of his skin to mark this first failed test. The jigsaw piece soon becomes the calling card John leaves on all his victims, earning him the super imaginative nickname, the Jigsaw Killer. As the police investigate the deaths, Detective Mark Hoffman sees an opportunity to avenge his murdered sister. Hoffman hooks his sister's murderer up to a guillotine trap that offers him no chance of escape, a jigsaw no-no, then carves out a piece of his skin to frame John. It doesn't take John long to catch on to what Hoffman has done. He kidnaps Hoffman and gives him the option to become his apprentice, an offer Hoffman accepts. They use Hoffman's position as a detective to try and frame Lawrence, John's oncologist, for Jigsaw's murders. Detective David Tapp hires photographer Adam Stanheidt to secretly observe Lawrence. John and Hoffman test drug addict Amanda Young, a former patient at Jill's clinic. Amanda survives her reverse bear trap by digging a key out of a fellow patient. After Amanda is interviewed by the police, she returns home where Jigsaw is waiting for her. Believing he has given her salvation, she too joins him as an accomplice. One of Amanda's first jobs is to set up a test for Lawrence and Adam. The pair wake up chained to a wall in an underground bathroom and must figure out how to escape. Lawrence does so by cutting off his own foot. Adam is left to die a slow death by Jigsaw, but Amanda takes pity on him and suffocates him with a plastic bag. Jigsaw finds Lawrence and tends to his wounds, and Lawrence agrees to join Jigsaw's squad because, who knows, this twist was retroactively orchestrated in Saw 7. Later, Amanda executes a test that targets Eric Matthews, not that one, a corrupt cop whose victims are all gathered together in an underground facility and tasked with surviving a deadly nerve gas. Eric fails his test by giving in to his violent instincts and is left to die by Amanda. John travels to the Gideon building to live out his last days, while his accomplices abduct his former partner, Art Blank. Amanda is instructed to conduct 2 tests, but to John's dismay, she designs both to be inescapable. As John readies his own final test, he gives a key to his ex-wife Jill, who knows what he and his accomplices are doing and tells her she'll know when to use it. The major pawns in John's final test are husband and wife, Jeff and Lynn Dinlan. Jeff is put through a series of gruesome challenges while Lynn, a doctor, is forced to treat Jigsaw with a collar around her neck that will explode if his heart stops. Before Jeff finishes his final challenge, Amanda reads a blackmail note from Hoffman. The note reveals Hoffman knows Amanda was with Cecil the night he tried to rob Jill's clinic. Hoffman threatens to tell John if Amanda doesn't kill Lynn. Meanwhile, Hoffman strings up both he and Eric Matthews into a test and forces Art Blank to monitor it while a timer counts down. Eric Matthews' ex-colleague, Officer Daniel Rigg, is put through a test of his own, leading Detective Peter Strom to think he is the Jigsaw Killer. Rigg eventually makes it to the Gideon building, where he accidentally kills Eric by opening the door. Strom also enters the Gideon building. Rigg shoots Art Blank shoots Rigg, Hoffman leaves them. Still following? At the same time, Amanda refuses to release Lynn after Jeff completes his test. She shoots Lynn just as Jeff arrives. Jeff shoots Amanda in retaliation, and as she bleeds out, John reveals this was actually her test. Jeff kills Jigsaw with a saw blade. How fitting. Lynn's collar detonates, and Hoffman locks Jeff in a room full of dead bodies. Strom is attacked by a masked Hoffman and left to die in a trap, but he survives. Suspicious that Hoffman also managed to survive, Strom begins researching possible connections he had with the victims. Hoffman is alerted to a tape from John saying he will not survive untested. Jill receives a box John left for her, unlocked with that key, which contains photos of the next test subjects. Hoffman orchestrates another test for 5 people who all played a part in a deadly fire. 1 survives. Based on a tip from Hoffman, Special Agent Dan Erickson begins to suspect Strom as Jigsaw's accomplice. Hoffman lures Erickson to his underground lair and plants fake evidence confirming these suspicions. Strom arrives and he and Hoffman fight. Strom locks Hoffman in a coffin, not realizing that was actually the safest place to be as the walls close in on him, crushing him to death. It's gross. Hoffman cuts off Strom's arm so he can plant his fingerprints on future crime scenes and stay in the shadows forever. Reporter Pamela Easton somehow finds the blackmail letter Hoffman wrote Amanda and shows it to Jill. Pamela also tells Hoffman about the box John gave Jill. Hoffman demands Jill give him the photos of the next test subjects. The first photo is of William Easton, who denied John health coverage in the first minute of this video, which, let's face it, was a lifetime ago. William Easton dies at the end of his test, much to the dismay of Pamela, who was, you guessed it, his sister. What a crazy coincidence! Jill ambushes Hoffman and puts the reverse bear trap on his head. She reveals to Hoffman that one of the photographs in John's box was of him. Jill leaves, but Hoffman escapes the trap. Hoffman goes into hiding while Jill meets Internal Affairs Detective Matt Gibson and incriminates Hoffman in exchange for immunity. Hoffman abducts Bobby Dagan, a self-help guru who made a living off claiming he was a Jigsaw survivor, and tells Gibson he'll stop abducting people if Gibson turns Jill over to him. Hoffman tests Dagan anyway, kills a whole bunch of people because this is the final chapter and all bets are off, and eventually manages to kill Jill. However, Lawrence has been active this whole time, unbeknownst to anyone left alive, and he attacks Hoffman. Lawrence drags him down to the bathroom he and Adam were chained up in so many movies ago, throws away the hacksaw he used to cut off his own leg, and leaves the building. Game finally over. Just kidding! Jigsaw kicks off a brand new era in the Saw franchise, following a series of murders that fit Jigsaw's MO, despite the fact that he's been dead for 10 years. Has the killer returned from the grave? Or is it an accomplice? Or a copycat? Or a copycat of an accomplice? Sorry, went a little insane there for a minute. Thanks for watching. For more gory goodness, check out the trailer for Jigsaw and watch us walk through the Saw maze at Halloween Horror Nights with Jigsaw actor Tobin Bell, and be sure to follow and subscribe wherever you like to watch IGN.